We are continuing our journey through Sri Lanka. After exploring Sigiriya, today we are headed to Ella, a place filled with hills, waterfalls, and stunning views of both the ocean near Mirissa and the surrounding forests. This region is also famous for the unforgettable Sri Lankan train ride. So, welcome to Pikwoods. Shall we set off for another adventure? In the previous episode, we explored Sigiriya Rock, nearby villages, viewpoints, and even on a night trek where we spotted a slender loris. Now, our journey continues as we head to Ella, and what you see here is Sigiriya town itself. As I mentioned in the previous episode, the roads here are quite good. Since there aren't too many vehicles, driving isn't much of a problem either. See that hill over there? That's a cave temple up there. So we decided to go check it out. To reach the top, we had to climb a few steps. On the way, a lady was standing there selling amber flowers for offerings. At the Buddha temple on the top of the hill, people usually offer lotus flowers when they visit. Do you see those honeybees around? They are here to collect the nectar. This cave temple is called the Dambula Cave Temple. Among the many cave temples in Sri Lanka, this is the largest one. From the outside, it looks polished with plenty of detailed works, but inside the rock opens into a vast space. Let's step inside and explore. There's also a small amber flower pond in here. What we see here was carved into the rock by people over 2500 years ago. This Buddha temple complex has around 80 caves in total. You will find many kinds of statues in here, including those of Lord Ganesha and Lord Vishnu. Because of one particularly special cave, this temple is listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And this man here is our driver. His name is Mr. Mohan. From the moment he picked us up from the airport until the end of the trip, he has been with us throughout. A very polite, knowledgeable man, great at driving and equally well informed about all these places. Traveling with him has been a very comfortable experience. The car is a Toyota Corolla. He imported it from Japan. Since import taxes aren't too high in here, many people bring in used vehicles from other countries like Japan. And look, this is a check dam. Isn't the design just beautiful? So after traveling about 150 kilometers, we finally reached a place called Ella. Unlike all the flat lands we had, in visiting over the past few days, Ella is completely different. It's a hill station. You could even call it the Munnar of Sri Lanka. If you ever visit Sri Lanka, this is definitely one place you should explore. This is the train service to Ella, and right now it's passing through the famous 9-arc bridge. This railway network connects almost every village across Sri Lanka, making it one of the most scenic journeys you can ever take. Since Ella is a hill station, there are many bridges and tunnels in here. Tomorrow, we'll definitely try taking a train ride ourselves. For now, let's follow this passing train for a while. It's beautiful to watch the train weave through these villages like a snake winding its way forward. There's no electric line in here. All the trains run on diesel engines. But surprisingly, there's hardly any smoke visible. The color combination of the train is also very attractive. The day we arrived in Ella happened to be the day of the Perahara festival. The main procession starts after 6 p.m., but even before that, you'll see all the preparations taking place. People dressed in all kinds of traditional costumes fill the streets, creating a vibrant atmosphere. On the road itself, we could see many performances, drummers, musicians, and artists dressed in colorful attires, some in costumes resembling Kathakali like makeup and dance. Many of these performers are actually school and college students who take part in the celebrations. Since our stay was a bit further away, we decided to move ahead and continue our journey. One unique aspect of Ella is that around 30% of the people here are of Tamil origin. Tamil is also taught in schools, so if you speak to the locals in Tamil, they'll understand you quite well. And here we are at the Ravana Ella waterfall, one of the most famous waterfalls in the region. Ella is known for its tea plantations, waterfalls and temples, along with some famous hills like the Little Adams Peak, which we will be visiting tomorrow morning. The rainy season here is during November and December. If you come at that time, the waterfalls looks even more spectacular with a heavier flow of water. The Ravana Falls cascade down from quite a height of about 25 meters. And right here in Ella, you will also find the highest waterfalls in all of Sri Lanka. This waterfall is called the Ravana Falls because, according to the legend, long ago Ravana hid Sita in a cave located above these waterfalls after abducting her. There are trekking paths leading up there, but since we didn't have enough time, we headed straight to a hotel. Attached to the hotel was a small tea shop, so we went in directly for some tea. It looked just like the traditional style tea stalls that we have back home. We also had some snacks from the shop. The tea was served on coconut shell cups, and the tea was made with jaggery and cardamom. It had such a rich, authentic taste. After finishing, we went straight back to our room. The stay was in a spacious, large room. That night, we rested well because early the next morning we had plans to head out for a walk. We would trek through the tea plantations for a while and then climb up a hill. This mountain is called Little Adams Peak. Steps have been made right through the middle of the cardamom plantations, and after that, the trail continues as an elevated walk like this. We have almost reached the top right now, and that's the highest point. Little Adams Peak stands at about 1,141 meters above sea level. It takes less than 1.5 hours to hike up here. Apart from the climb, there's nothing too difficult about the trek. Sri Lanka also has another mountain called Adams Peak, but in terms of viewpoints and beauty, Little Adams Peak is just as special. In fact, it's not just a single mountain. There are 2-3 connected peaks in here which can be trekked all together. If you go with a guide, you can explore even more scenic spots along the way just like this. To hike up the Little Adams Peak, there is no entry fee and you do not need a guide. Anyone can climb up. But since there are no tea shops on the way, it is best to carry enough water with you. Down there, you can see the road we came by. We parked our vehicle at that bend that looked like a mountain pass. And from there we started to walk. From this height, look at the size of the buses down there. They look so tiny. The view from the top of the hill almost feels like being at the highest points in Idukki. The air here is cool, but since we have just finished a tiring climb, we don't really feel the chill. We didn't stay too long at the summit and decided to head back down. On the way, we thought of stopping at a small roadside shop for some tea. Here in Sri Lanka, people use a lot of sugar in their tea. So instead of tasting the tea leaves, what stands out the most is the sweetness of the sugar. In most shops, they use milk powder rather than fresh milk. We are now heading straight to the Damodara railway station, which is the station nearest to Ella's tea plantations. This railway station is quite unique. back when the British built it, even though they could have constructed a direct bridge to reach a slightly lower town of Damodara, the train wouldn't have been able to cross it because of the height. So instead, they built a loop track around the hill. The train we saw earlier winding around the mountain. Now you can see why it does that. The elevation from here down to Damodara station is about 80 feet. Since the train couldn't handle such a steep drop, they constructed a tunnel at the base and then looped up the track around the hill so that the train could gradually gain height and safely reach Damodara station. From here, the train continues all the way to Colombo. Once we arrived at the station, we brought our tickets with the help of a guide. Now we are ready to board the train and experience a bit of Sri Lanka's famous scenic railway journey. We are traveling on the unreserved train, which is meant for regular tourists. There is also fully reserved trains that run on this route. As I mentioned earlier, the idea to build the loop track to reach Damodara was proposed by a Sri Lankan engineer. Even at the station, you can see the name displayed clearly. Along this route, the train passes through many small valleys and hills, which is why there are so many tunnels along the way. This is the railway map of Sri Lanka. The railway network connects most places in Sri Lanka, including hill stations like Kandy and Ella. The trains still run on the old railway lines built by the British, and even new extensions about 50 km long continue to operate along these historic tracks. After traveling a bit by train, we finally reached Ella. Since we were on a train meant for tourists, it wasn't crowded at all. Our driver was waiting for us at Ella railway station. From here, we switched to our car and planned to head to a waterfall along the way to Mirissa, which is our next destination. So this waterfall is called the Tialuma Falls. Since it cascades from such a great height, it looks almost like it's in slow motion. In fact, the water is the second highest in Sri Lanka, standing about 220 meters. At the top of the waterfall is a place called the Upper Dayaluma, but it's a bit of a walk to get there. Look, there's even a small business selling priced lottery tickets here. As I mentioned, Ella is surrounded by hills, so you can see how people practice terrace farming here. Step-by-step farming like this is similar to what we see in Watavada in Kerala, or in some regions of Indonesia which I saw during my travels. After enjoying this view, we are now heading to Mirissa. Leaving behind the waterfalls, forests, and hills, we are now moving forward towards the coastline where we can see the ocean as well as the mangrove forests. And look at these boards. Most places here are also written in Tamil, which is common in this region. Finally, we reached the sea, surrounded by water on all the sides. This is the first time we get to see the ocean in Sri Lanka. Right next to the beach runs the highway, and nearby you can also spot the railway line. The waters around Mirissa are quite deep, which is why the area is famous for whale watching. We checked into our resort, the Mandara Beach Resort. It's built on a perfect spot where you can step directly onto the beach from the resort itself. If you ever visit, I would highly recommend Mandara Beach Resort. After completing the check-in procedures, we are heading out for boating, a ride that lets us see the forest and surrounding areas from the water. The Zahra tour packages we booked is perfectly timed. From one spot to the next, we have always reached on schedule. We didn't miss any locations, including all the sites we explored in Ella. When we asked about the boarding charges, we were told it costs 2000 rupees for 2 people. Hearing that we might get a chance to see birds and animals not found back home, our interest in boat ride had increased. We entered the forested area by boat. Many of the locals who survived the 2004 tsunami had taken refuges in these forests. Sri Lanka and Indonesia were among the countries most affected by the disaster. It's said that almost 50,000 people in Sri Lanka lost their lives. Being an island made Sri Lanka particularly vulnerable. Today, things have changed significantly. The roads are well built and tourist attractions are well maintained. Sri Lanka is now a financially stable country, and in most places, about 70% of people you see are foreigners. The tourism sector is very helpful and organized. While exploring, we were hoping to spot monkeys, but the first animals we saw were bats. Normally, bats are found in shaded, hidden places, but here they are resting in open spaces. Despite having wings, bats are mammals. They give birth to the young, feed their babies with milk. Except in extreme cold regions, bats can be found in almost everywhere in the world. This is a bridge that all vehicles use, and we had to cross it to continue our journey. If the water level rises, the boats can no longer pass through this route, so we would have to take another alternate path. That monkey sitting over there is a purple-faced leaf monkey. This species is endangered and found only in Sri Lanka, listed on the IUCN's orange list. They don't like humans coming too close to them, so spotting them isn't very easy. Every forested area in Sri Lanka also has a forested caves. So if you look at the roots and the thick branches, they're as hard as iron. Our guide accompanies us to all these spots, and since the driver also comes along, we can move around comfortably without worrying about transport. He's a very cool human. Since this area is also home to crocodiles, we're carefully making our way along the land paths to stay safe and have a look at the crocodiles. This is a long bridge, just big enough for vehicles and people on bikes or walking to reach the island nearby. Did you notice the mechanism on the boat to prevent it from drowning in deep waters? On our way, we visited a house where cinnamon is processed. We came here specifically to see how cinnamon is made. After getting off the boat, we walked into the house. When we entered, they offered us cinnamon tea. To process cinnamon, they first take a branch and peel off the outer layer.
There are 2 layers.
Okay.
First layer used for the compost.
Okay.
Second layer make the cinnamon stick.
Okay.
They are not machines or done by hand.
Then using a special stick, they carefully roll the inner bar.
Other metal no good. After this color change, only brass metal. After that, one branch continue 20 years growing.
Okay.
India, Indonesia, China, cinnamon dark brown color, very thick.
Yeah.
They are not clean in the first layer, dark brown. First layer no good. First layer mixed with a little bit mud and sand.
Next, a knife is used to cut the barks from both ends. The rolled bark that comes off is what we know as cinnamon. After peeling, the cinnamon is dried in the shade for about 10 days before it can be used. Sri Lankan cinnamon is exported to many countries and is famous for its high quality. You can even buy the cinnamon here locally. Have you seen the cinnamon tree? This is the tree itself, and these are its leaves. The tree grows quite large over time. Now it's time for us to head back. This island has a small temple known as the Sadapadahua temple, which is a Ganapati shrine. It's located on the smallest island in this river. This river is actually a water body that flows into the sea near Madhuganga. And because of the surrounding forests, it's also a popular spot for tourists. After spending some time on the boat, we started our return journey. Next, we're heading to Mirissa to spot the blue whale. So tomorrow morning, we'll go for the whale watching trip. And later, we plan to visit Yala National Park, which is one of Sri Lanka's main forests. All the sites will be featured in the next episode. Bye-bye.